I'm recording a video because I have a few thoughts that I want to share. First and foremost, it is very, very, very difficult to be authentic in public. And I say this not because I feel like I'm inauthentic, but because I observe it in other people happening, and thereby assume that it's probably also the case for myself. And I think it's mostly difficult to be authentic with regards to how we feel and the emotions that truly exist within us, because it's very, very easy to judge them and to push them away and to disregard them and disconnect from them, actually. That is definitely true for me, at least. Oftentimes in social situations, I'm not even talking about YouTube even, but just public is what I mean when there's more than two people in a room. In situations where there's group dynamics or you are exposed to other people's opinions, and a setting becomes a social setting where all kinds of things apply that we have gathered and accumulated throughout our lives, all kinds of rules and judgments and perceptions that exist within us because of being raised as social beings. And I'll speak from my own experience. It is very, very, very easy to want to present an image of who we are and to disown the parts of ourselves that we don't want to be, and to not talk about the things that we don't really want to acknowledge is us. While actually doing so makes you an emotionally safe person to be around, and transparency about all the things that are unwanted or not so honorable, or all the things that we don't really want to be and that seem untrustworthy. If you manage to become aware of them and share them with other people, that's what makes you an honest person and a trustworthy person and not a dangerous person to be around, even though your intentions might be completely selfish and beyond selfish. They might be just very ugly. Like, you might be in a place of disliking yourself, or victimhood, or severe disempowerment, jealousy, envying people, distrusting people, only wanting some things from a person while not being able to grant or give them what they need or want from a relationship. It might be that you just feel very uncomfortable in their presence. It might be that you're insecure, like there's a billion things that we don't really want to admit to within ourselves. And maybe just to demonstrate, I'll try to think of a few situations in my own life that are the way they are, but I find it hard to acknowledge. If I can bring up the necessary awareness to do so and give you a good example. So I think in my family, I'm a very dishonest person. I don't share how I truly feel and think, and that is because I actually distrust all of them. And yet there's another part of me, like another aspect of my mind, that is constantly telling me that it's okay and we're just people that happen to be born in the same family and we love each other and we want to maintain connection, and there's also nothing very severe about the situation. I'm not actually in danger, and there's no severe emotional abuse. There's just ignorance and not being aware of how we function and how our relations function. And for now, I feel like I'm quite okay having a certain level of awareness within myself, and that I kind of prefer to disconnect from them or connect to them on a very superficial level above sharing my actual honest and authentic truth with them, because I know that it might provoke a lot of pain. But then the story that I tell myself is just that it's unnecessary, or that they will not understand anyway. And what I don't recognize, and I'm starting to realize that I don't recognize this, is that I disconnect from them intentionally. Like, I intentionally move away from them in order to feel safe in my own sphere of convictions and knowing and experience, and not confronting this with the experience that the other person has in life. And I hurt them by doing so, because they don't understand why I do it, and I don't have the courage to make it explicit in a way that I also at the same time care for them and care for their experience and care for their well-being. So for now, it has just been me trying to find the space in which I can truly express myself, and that meant that I had to disconnect from them, or it felt like that, like I have to escape your I have to escape your sphere to be able to really say what I gotta say, because you will judge me for it. And the story of seeing them as not being able to understand, or nothing will ever change, and blah blah blah, it's a very harmful traumatic experience for them, I think. That I don't even allow them to be close to me, or that I don't express the wish to maintain closeness with them, even though they might have hurt me in some ways and blah blah blah. They're not conscious of it. And if I don't make them aware of it, and I just disconnect to preserve my own truth, then I give up on the relationship. I just give up on a relationship. I give up on connection, and I give up on something that for me no longer holds truth, but for them it does. And I don't give them the chance to see why for me something needs to change, or why it doesn't hold truth, and how we could up-level it together. I don't give them the chance to do this. And actually I find it very hard to do that in any relation, and I tend to disconnect and push people out of my life, rather than taking the risk of being responsible for their well-being, and at the same time putting my boundaries, because that demands even more of me. It's not about me being aware of what is true for me, it's me being aware of what is true for me and what is true for them, and finding the meeting point to care for both of our stories and well-being. And that just points to where my priorities are right now, and they're not with other people, they're just with me. And at the same time, I also have a need for connection, and sometimes I really feel lonely, and I want to have people in my life to feel nurtured, mainly emotionally, and sometimes even physical touch is something that I really desire, to feel grounded and at home in myself. And I seek out these things only when I need them. So I'm really, how do you say that? It's not narcissistic, but this thing where you just turn with the wind, kind of, and you take whatever opportunity comes your way, but you don't consistently give, and you're not really committed to something, and you don't care for what is happening in the other person when they're not providing for your needs. I can't figure out the word, but I'll maybe get to it. So yeah, that's one of the truths that I have noticed in myself and in my social behavior. And actually people rarely point it out, because it's also very hard to say something like it's hard to like point that out in another person very clearly, that they don't care about you except for if they need something from you. But certain people in my environment have pointed me in this direction, and I really, really wouldn't be able to recognize this. And I would just go like, okay, but you have to take care of your own personal trauma and triggers and put it on them. And that is also true, but if I want to maintain a relationship with them, it means that I have to put in the effort, and that I have to help them in that process also, by both offering a reflection and my experience of how I feel about what they say and how they act and all these kinds of things, and then show that I care and that I want to invest in maintaining this relationship. And that is actually the kind of love that helps this person to grow. I'm only realizing these things just now. And so this was all an example to demonstrate my initial point, that it is actually better to be clear with yourself, to be very true with yourself, and thus also with others, because it gives the other person a choice instead of an illusion. So, for example, in my situation, it would be way more courageous for me to tell my mom that I depend on her for certain needs, that sometimes I want to feel her motherhood and the caressing and the nurturing that she gives me, yet at the same time what she values in our relationship, which is about being able to give me some guidance and share her perspective on things and like many other things. I don't want that. I really don't want that. I only want it when I ask for it, and she's giving it without me asking for it, and then I disconnect from her because it's just too painful and too I feel like I have to just run away from it. And my mom is so persistent in calling me back and calling me and insisting on talking to me about these things that trigger her. She's always the one to take the initiative. And so I thought that I was being responsible for my own emotions, and to like on a certain level that is true, but at the same time I wouldn't take her well-being into account as part of my well-being. So I can sit with my own triggers, and that's okay, and I can process them, but I wouldn't feel the need to make them explicit or talk to her about how she is feeling, because obviously she's also triggered, blah blah blah. Um, and she would always be the one to insist on, let's do it together and let's keep on relating. So actually, maybe what the truth would be in this moment of the relationship of me and my mother is that I go and tell her, I don't want you to tell me anything or share any of your opinions about how I'm living my life without me asking for your perspective. But I do need some warmth and caretaking sometimes. And I have noticed that I'm reaching out to you mostly when I need this and I'm seeking it. And when I'm not in need of it, I tend to just do my own thing and stop caring about you and how you are doing. And I can't really change this dynamic within myself, and I'm not sure if I want to. So is this the kind of relationship that you are okay with? Can you handle this? And or can we find a meeting point in the middle if this is too painful for you? Because I also care about you and the fact that we relate as human beings, and I want this relationship to evolve and continue to exist. That is what I would say and would have to do if I put in the work of maintaining a relationship. And so when I'm talking about this, I also understand that this relationship with my mother, like she's my mother, that's a very essential one in life. And I think for many people, instinctively, this is something that you kind of want to maintain, or that is at least very, very hard to completely let go of and disconnect from. Or let's say painful. It's painful. I don't think it's impossible. Many people have done it, and if you're very traumatized or in unhealthy situations, then it's probably the best thing to do, but it's very, very painful. And it goes against your nature to disconnect from your prevalent caretaker. And so with my mom, because she insists on it, I have managed to maintain this and be open about both spiritual process and everything that comes with it, and life choices that she doesn't agree with at all, and ways of behaving that make her uncomfortable, all these things, and also my human self and the deepest emotions, because she pulls them out of me. She really pulls the truth out of me, and points to the fact that I'm also uncomfortable and that I actually do care about relating to her and that I have needs, and all these things she brings into light, let's say. But with other people in my life, I really have disconnected strongly. Almost everyone, yeah, pretty much everyone, but my mom, because I've always lived with this attitude of, or I haven't always lived with it, but the more I started to feel a sense of safety in myself, and the more I developed the ability to be with myself and handle my own emotions and work with my own mind and thought and energy, the less there is this incentive to be with people and get your needs met there, or to put effort into relationships that you become aware of don't fully work or are very unconscious. But it's a dangerous attitude because I still have needs and I'm always trying to meet them, and I want people in my life. So yeah, the question is just, now knowing this, how am I going to move forward? With a lot of clarity and honesty about the disgusting truths in myself, and courage about not judging the fact that I am what I am in this moment and behave the way I behave, and just giving the other person the choice if that is what they want to experience with me. And also because this drive, or this attitude of being self-centered and very self-focused and only tending to others when I actually need something from them, because I'm becoming aware of it, there's probably also the possibility to consciously change it and choose a different attitude in which I really care to include the well-being of the other person in my consideration of how I behave and act and express. But that is that feels like a very, very heavy burden. And yeah, that's not right or wrong. That is just the way that I'm wired in this moment, or the way my energy works in this moment. And I do think it would be healthy for me to practice relating and considering the emotional well-being of others, and considering what needs to be done in a relationship in order for it to continue actively, and to invest in it, and to dance the dance instead of just assuming that it's there and I can return to it whenever I need something from it. I think it would be healthy to do that and practice that. I also feel like I need, or I want to do this with very conscious people who can point it out when I'm not doing it, and who can explicitly share about how they feel, how I make them feel, who are not afraid of their own truths, whether they be ugly or beautiful, and who are straightforward. Another example of this could be that I also sometimes refuse love in certain ways. When people want to touch me and I actually feel in my body that I would like that, oftentimes there's a response of taking distance and wanting to move away from that because it's a bit scary, and I haven't completely figured out why that triggers me, but there's a sense of unsafety in it. And so there's a part of me that is actually desperate for it, and that really wants to accept that wants to be hugged and trust that. And I've been learning more and more how to do this, and I think it would be helpful for me to be around the person, or in a relationship, a friendship, or just like whatever kind of ship with someone who tells me, in this moment you're not accepting love and you are disconnecting because you feel unsafe. Or do you feel unsafe? Someone who asks me these kind of questions, for me to become more aware of my own behavior in relationships. Also, I'm understanding more and more that that maybe this is my task or thing that I could put my energy into developing emotional awareness, and to really become an expert in how to become aware of how I feel and how I relate to others, and kind of take the lead on this honesty, authenticity thing, and take the lead on maintaining relationships instead of disconnecting. And that this could become an area of expertise because I am very, very emotional. Yeah, I am quite deeply emotional, and I cannot escape it anyway, so I have to sit with my emotions. They're too overwhelming to not be with them. So maybe that's also where my value lies, that I can learn deeply if I really accept that they are part of me and that I want to become conscious of them. That this could be something that I can help other people with. And I also have the suspicion that this is part of my ancestry and my ancestral healing work that I was assigned as a part of the karmic structure in this life. My grandmother committed suicide. I never knew her. My dad was 10 years old when it happened. And tomorrow I'm going to talk to 3 aunts, great aunts, so her sisters, 3 of her sisters. She was the oldest one, and then 3 younger sisters of hers are going to share stories about her childhood and adulthood and life, and how she grew up, what kind of family, what kind of environment, what she liked, what her character was like. And I don't know that much about her, but I do know that she was intense, adventurous, and that she had very, very fluctuating emotions, like very high highs and very low lows, and that she felt alone. I don't know what eventually made her depressed or drove her into these kinds of actions, but I think the intensity of her experience and maybe inability to be with her emotional experience or share it with people, and to make herself be understood in that way, and to just be with it. Maybe that's even the more difficult part, to like be with the absolute depth of sadness. Yeah, that this is something characteristic for her that maybe is also in me, and that I get a chance to approach differently because I have all these spiritual tools and masters around me who are guiding my energy and making me more and more aware of what is happening within me, so that I can be of value somehow. So with this, I also want to extend a general invitation to talk to me. I'll maybe add a link to my messenger on this video so you can find me. I do not intend to charge anything, but you can maybe like, I'm open to donations, let's say. This feels weird to say, because I feel like I haven't proved my value yet, but I'm moving towards figuring out where it lies and which needs that people have that I could actually meet. And so actually you talking to me and sharing about your life and your problems will help me figure that out. It will give me an idea of what it is that I see and perceive and feel and experience that I share that could be of help to you. So if you need to share about how you feel, or you have questions, or whatever, anything that comes up while watching this, if you need someone to hold space for you, or if you just want to talk to me because it's fun and you want to connect, also find me, and let's do that, and let's have a conversation and see where it goes. And yeah, maybe I can be of value to you. So I think that is it. Shambo, and have a nice day or night and week and life.